All right, we're recording. Okay, at this point, you can see that I have done the top two panels, and I have not done the middle two panels. Now let's go ahead and start those. These look like they're going to be relatively simple. You know that I don't really do finished pencils, much to my detriment, I'm sure. Things would be better if I did. Shout out to Dan Rizal. He's like, what is that ship? And the ship, I have to admit, is the Air Sub DX. I think I've mentioned a couple of times. I actually did show also the inspiration for this character is largely taken from the Phantom Eagle and also Spy Smasher. And Spy Smasher also is a comic about the ship. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. Like I said, when we first started doing the 9-volt, Wiz Comics was very much on my mind. Wiz Comics #1 especially. But Wiz Comics especially, you know, just... and what Wiz Comics is, or was Fawcett Comics, Captain Marvel, but it was an anthology comic. And it had about 6 or 7 stories in it. One of them, the lead story was Captain Marvel, which is the Shazam Captain Marvel. I guess you have to specify now. The next one after that was, I think Spy Smasher was the next one after that. Then it was a Western called Golden Arrow. Then there was a pirate comic. I think there was like a pirate or an island story. The 1930s were a weird time for comics, I tell you what, because there was, you could have any kind of comic. Oops. I want to get the same energy as that one. Looks close. And its wings are meant to be sort of retracting in. Well, we can't see it on this page. So I'm going to go high up on this top one, because we're underneath. And I want thin lines here. Either it's meant to be motion lines, showing the speed of the craft. We are underneath it. So just as in the previous view, we're up above it, then now we're underneath. Now I don't really have this nose cone kind of bit here, right? There is like a split. Let's see. Maybe with some some clouds here. Now, the secret, I think, for doing like perspective in the sky where you have no reference points is use your sky features like clouds and things. Big ones up front, smaller and more tightly bunched as you get further and further away. Alright, that's probably as far as we need to go on something like this. Let's try and get that speech bubble in. Whoops, not you. I got another one. Okay. There's no interfering art, so we can actually just fake in the lines. All right, let's take a look. I think this looks okay. We might throw like a horizon line way in the back down here. A lot of times when you're trying to visualize what you want to create, you know, just try to imagine what would make this a cool scene. Like, should it be skimming across the ocean? Pushing up waves, you know, with its wingtips. Just realized I'm still in the bubbles layer. Oh. Too far. My speed lines. Too far to the bottom. That's fine. Let's go for the next one. Here, now here's this is an example of how my imagination works. Is I actually have it kind of curved like a fish as it's going into the water, which it probably shouldn't be, but maybe it should. I don't know. I don't feel like it's literally able to curve, but just maybe I wanted to emphasize some kind of grace, you know, as it's diving into the water. Anyways, gotta get rid of all these lines because I'm using the wrong nib. So we're gonna have to redraw this bit anyways. Rusty nib. There we go. Oh, and then because on this side, am I making a mistake by curving the back of it? I don't know. Like, will that make it look like less of a technological, you know, less of a vehicle? One thing's for sure, I got those back fins in the wrong place. I think we can leave it curving like this and chalk that up to dynamic foreshortening. I think we've got it there. Okay. And a couple other things. We're going to be dynamically foreshortening things. We got to watch our line weights, which means we can thicken these up front. We got to thin this one back here, though. Here's where we got to use thin line weight. Be careful when you're drawing water. It's very hard. And avoid lines that cross over each other. Plenty of droplets. There we go. And then these lines where I have coming from the side, probably wrong. It's probably more like this. All right. We're on the right track. Any pages I complete between now and the end of the year, I kind of consider my bonus pages because I've already hit my mark, which is 100 for the year. Be cool to get to 150. I doubt I'll hit 150, but I got 100. And I think I'm close to, I think I mentioned it last video. All right, well that's the borderline. That's the basic. No, I didn't like how that circle came out. We need a loud sound effect here. Sploosh. Kersplash. Something like that. I'm going to be real careful to make sure that my lines are all going in the right direction. Whoops. I can see the water kind of streaming off of the craft. Alright, let's do a sound effect. We're going to put it on its own layer, just in case we get it wrong. I don't like my zeros, my O's. Sploosh. Or right here. Okay. Unfortunately, I did a lot of those waves on the wrong layer. Let's try and do this. Sound effect. I think we're doing okay so far. Let's see. One with a big O. That might be a mistake. Let's make this one a smaller one. That one looks okay. Alright, as far as this S. A lot of times when you're drawing it in a single line for a letter, you have a good sense of where it should be as a block letter, but you haven't accounted for how, you know, how when you start kind of ballooning it out, which direction is the wrong direction. So I have a lot of respect for letterers and calligraphers because they really take into account a lot of these things. It's a concept I like to call balance. I once took a dynamic perspective course where the guy promised to talk about balance, and he didn't. He only talked about like the figure actually like as if they were balancing on their feet, which that doesn't matter as much at all. I mean, it's something that's good to know. You draw the line from the ankle to the center of the head, and then you have balance. That's not what I'm talking about. A lot of times we're just talking about the balance of the line and the elements on the page. That is much more important. And it's harder to get right. And I'm not saying I'm getting it right all the time or even at all. But you especially will know when it's off. But it's something that letterers think about all the time, as far as I can tell. Because how else did they get it right all the time? Like I can tell I'm a little bit overbalanced on my exclamation point. There we go. All right, finishing touch. White. By the way. Balance line right there. Whoops. I think that'll just about do it. See if we can fix that. Letter H. Come on now. Let me get back to my glare here. Oftentimes at the very top of the wave, there'll be sort of a white cap. I don't like this right here. It's too spiky. All right. I got some font choices to fix on my fantasy stuff.